What's up, y'all? Welcome to the show. It's the Trash Cast, if you didn't already know. For today, our guest is, we have no guest. It's me and Toad. Toad, say hi to the people,
Hi guys, it's Toad Savage.
right? Or
How you
Tao
doing?
Shrek. Tao Shrek. How do you pronounce that?
So it's actually the Tau is actually an acronym, but I get Toe or Tau a lot before the Shrek, but it stands for the one and only. And the reason it's the one and only Shrek is that was the name of the original book made back in 1993.
Ah, I thought it was like philosophical, like this is the Tao of Shrek. Is one an ogre?
Tau
Could one an ogre? And should one an ogre?
shit one ogre.
Right?
Man,
Like
there's so
fucking
many ogre
Batista.
jokes out
How?
there.
How is Gamora?
Not who, how is Gamora?
Right.
That character went another direction than I thought it would. I'm not gonna lie. Didn't expect him to be like that.
What, Batista? On
Oh yeah,
Drax
Drax.
the Destroyer?
Oh yeah.
What do you mean? You thought he
Like
would be like the
like
comic?
I thought it would be a little bit more like the comic, but that's where I was more familiar with Drax. I like how that character popped out though. I love Dave Bautista's portrayal of a portrayal of Jack. I almost said Jax. Drax.
I like it too. I mean, I immediately it was clear to me that they weren't going to have him be anything like the comics. But I was cool with that because I was like, I wasn't actually excited for the character when he was announced on the roster because I was like, oh, okay, he's gonna be the muscle, right? He's gonna be the big fucking dude that doesn't say shit and just has like badass one-liners and stabs people. And I was like, oh, and they got Bautista to play him. It's like, dude, Bautista's just big and he fucking stabs people, right? Like that's he's just the big wrestler, silent wrestler guy. And so I was pleasantly surprised that they didn't go anywhere near the comic direction, and that Bautista was not at all like I thought it was going to be.
It's part of that James Gunn magic though, his, character chemistry and stuff. Something, he's did the few Guardians of the Galaxies, then he did Suicide Squad, and even though it was like similarly, he didn't stick to the comics all the way with the characters, he just put his chemistry in there and they just become really liked. Really liked. I was just watching a scene with Drax actually not too long ago this morning making my coffee and Drax he was trying to stand still
Oh,
so he was not so he couldn't be seen by the human eye. And I'm like, oh
right.
my gosh.
I remember that. He's like, I am invisible. Fuck, those movies were fucking good. Dude, but yo, okay, so we got to discuss, right? Because this is a Mortal Kombat podcast, allegedly. But we got to talk about this
Yes.
player base, man. Like, are you having problems getting matches in Combat League?
Man, it's been the slowest definitely that it's ever been lately I feel like it's just like the Xbox because I used to play on the Xbox a lot with this game, but my Xbox broke. It's now getting to the point where it's just as slow as the Xbox Combat League matches,
Yeah.
or like on
Or
tournament days
casual.
and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, like
casual. Yeah,
yeah, dude, like people keep asking me to stream Combat League and I'm like, "Man, I can't. I don't even want to try now because like every time we've tried to like get into Combat League, it's like 20 minutes to like get a match and then it's like a bad match. It's like 200 ping on Wi-Fi and like it's like, dude, I waited 20 minutes and like this is what I'm getting and I'm like, man, it's not. I don't even remember it being that bad in MKX. I remember even when MKX quote unquote died, like you could still get a match in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Like it was a long wait, but it wasn't like super long. And now with this game, it's like holy shit! Like I'm streaming, so like I have a clock while I'm streaming. I know how long it's taking to even not even get a match.
I think it was a little different though. I mean, I could be wrong, but in MKX, I think everybody enjoyed MKX. I think this game had more complaints than MKX for one, but the mainly what I was getting to was when you play MKX online, it was only like one match, and those matches are like high paced, high speed. So even if the players were, the player base were low, depending on what time of day you're playing, you could come across the few players more frequently just because it was a higher speed game and it was only one best of two. Whereas in Mortal Kombat 11, they're long, it's best of three, and yeah,
Yeah,
in one
because
game
a Combat League set is usually about 20 minutes in
at
MK11.
least.
Whereas in MKX, dude, you could be done in 2. By the way,
You can
somebody
melt
just
health
joined
bars.
us. Who stepped in with us?
Barack Kabalma.
Barack Obama.
Awesome.
Yeah, hi.
Awesome. Welcome. Introduce yourself.
Nova carried Kabame.
Right. You're a little quiet. You might want to turn your mic up.
It's Nova.
Yeah.
Here, I'll switch to my
Oh,
laptop.
Uh-oh, there
see,
it goes.
see, I didn't put two and two together. His name is different on the
Barack
Discord to me.
Kabalma. He's going to bring back the hope, man. He's the hope. The hope
He's
of
the
the
hope.
top. Oh, wait, but he plays a top tier. But he's the hope
Yeah.
to get rid of Jackie and Cetrion.
He claims hardcore that Cabal is not top tier.
I have a
And
hard time thinking of him in like the same. Like he counters. Like we're finding out now that he counters Cetrion and that he kind of shuts down Fujin a little bit. But like, I don't know if I would say that he's like top tier because he does well against those characters. Because like other characters on the cast shut him down so bad. Like he just,
yeah.
especially like someone that's like really good at like zoning and counter zoning. Like he can't really play his dumbass like space you out with shuriken and then dash in when he feels like doing a combo. Like characters that shut that down, like he just does not do good. You know, and characters with good anti-air abilities like Noob and Devora, like they just shut his shit down. They're just like, no, you're not doing that. So it's like I have a hard time like saying Cabal is top tier just because like yeah, he can compete with the top tiers, but like there are some popular picks that give him problems.
So, I mean, arguably, could you say there was something like that for every character? I mean, like, because if we're basing like a tier, like here, right? Are we speaking in the terms of like the the higher tier are characters that have more tools against most of the cast?
Well,
Is that the kind of deal we're going for?
I've explained how I like put together tier lists and view tier lists. It's the
Mhm.
old-fashioned way, the way that it was originally, and that is like results coupled with matchups plus a little bit of theory crafting. But for the most part,
Okay.
it's results and matchup charts. You make a theoretical matchup chart, you test the matchup chart against the actual results in tournament as best as you can, because obviously you're not going to get fucking too many Devora versus Collector matches in tournament, right?
No.
So as best as you can, you check matchup charts, theoretical matchup charts that the community agrees upon against actual results, and then you add some theoretical juice, a little bit, right? A lot of people sit there and they base their whole fucking tier list on theoretical bullshit. And I'm like, this is why nobody respects your opinion. When you're sitting there saying, yeah, but man, like Sub-Zero could do this, but if they do this and that, it's like, dude, is
That's
anybody
going.
No, that's how all of the fucking scrublord idiots do their fucking tier lists. They're just like, oh man,
Yeah.
but if somebody got really, really good with fucking Melina, man, she has potential. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like you don't have no idea what you're talking about. It's not a tier list, okay? Tier list is supposed to be, what do we think is gonna happen? Okay, what actually happened? How do those correlate? That's the tier list. Okay? What do we think? Okay, we think fucking Melina's dope. What happened? Nobody's done shit with Melina. So what do we put? Well, so far the only people who have done anything with Melina have fucking lost. So she's pretty bad. You know what I mean? Like that's how you do it. Now,
Yeah.
bam, she's low tier. these fucking dumbass motherfuckers that fucking scrublord fucking 8-year-olds that never played a fucking fighting game until fucking Street Fighter 4. You know, it's just like, no, man. But you don't understand, man. Noob Saibot, like, just nobody's playing him good. Shut the fuck up, dude. The best players in the world. If your character with so much hidden potential was so fucking good, the best players in the world would be playing that shit. Okay? People criticize Sonic Fox for being a tier whore. If your character was top tier, do you think that the person that plays the game 60 hours a week for a living isn't going to discover whatever weird minutia shit that you think makes your favorite character undiscovered potential? It's like, shut the fuck up and get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. I'm tired of people saying that shit. As you can see, I'm a little passionate about that. I need to calm down.
Hey, that's okay. It's okay. The coffee will calm you down.
Maybe.
No, but I understand the passion there. I understand the passion, the tier list and how it is. It sounds like a healthy 3-step program to a tier list. I mean, like you're saying, theory tier lists are toxic for sure. Supernova, what's going on, man?
What's up, bitches? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little bit better. A little bit better.
You shit talking
Yay.
penis shoe wearing.
Oh, you right.
Okay, so then what's your opinion then, Nova?
On what?
He wasn't even fucking paying attention. Next topic. No, we were talking about, what were we talking about?
I
here?
just joined.
We were talking
The
about
lack of player base.
Oh.
Yeah, we're actually started on the lack of player base, and then we kind of sidestepped into tier lists. Have you been having issues getting into like matches, like with randos, casuals, and competitive alike?
I only get like paired up in Combat League against like noobs who don't know how to play the game really.
Yeah, but you think everyone's a noob who doesn't know how to play the game, really?
Well, not everyone. It's just that I don't like Combat League because every single hour I spend on there, it's just me doing raw nomad dash over and over again because they don't know how to block. For an hour. I have clips of it. It's like ridiculous. I don't want to play it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've said from the start, Combat League is not a good place to like level up. Like, it's a good place to like get Combat League tactics down and master that bullshit. But like, yo, dude, the fact that you can level up by just doing raw nomads should speak volumes for how effective somebody who plays exclusively in Combat League, using Combat League tactics, how well they would fare against someone of, you know, a modicum of intelligence.
Literally, how I start Combat League is, alright, my first match, jump kick, nomad dash, jump kick, nomad dash, over and over again, until I reach champion. It's ridiculous. I don't know why people don't know how to block.
But I mean, do you think you think that's because of the low player base, or do you think that that's causing the low player base?
I guess it's just causing the low player base, to be honest. Like, this game is like already 2 years old. People who were playing it like on year 1 like kind of just dropped it already because there's barely any updates, and Combat League has just been like even more toxic.
See, that's something that I like. Is that a generational thing? Is this me being an old man yelling at clouds? But like the whole lack of updates thing, I find is just bullshit. Like, that's fucking dumbass Zoomer shit. Because, like, we loved when there were no more updates in the old school. Because now you can't fucking nerf my shit. If I find some dope shit, dude, you're fucked. You're going to have to deal with this. Like, we love that. That's why fucking Evolution happened. Because nobody wanted to stop playing the old games. Because they're like, yeah, dude, they're never going to nerf this shit, dog. You got to hold that. Yuna's top tier, baby. Yuna's top tier. Like, that shit made it fun, and it just seems like nowadays, like, that's like a real big problem. They're like, oh, well, they're not going to give me any more DLC. I'm like, wait, so you're mad that you don't have to spend any more money to gain more value out of the game?
I think that's just a really positive way of looking at that, and I'm glad there's an opposing view on everybody like that wants the constant updates, because I mean, there's nothing really you could do about it back in the day if you wanted those. But then again, back in the day, you never heard about games getting updates unless it were like if, like, for example, a PlayStation 1 game, and then you got the next version of it, like a director's cut or a V2, like on some fronts of cases and video games and stuff. That's the only update you were getting. So it wasn't really update culture back then, you know,
Yeah, I just don't
unless it were the next
understand.
game.
I just don't understand that mentality. Like, okay, I understand people not playing because they don't like the game. And if you don't
Mhm.
like the game, I highly encourage you to not fuck with it. But, like, there's people that are like, oh, well, I won't play it because there's no more DLC. And I just don't understand that because it's like, wait, you won't play a game, right? Like, because they don't want any more of your money? Like, you now, fuck, everybody's broke. Like, I
Yeah.
would love to be getting a game and like having it be it. Like, fuck, you can buy Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate Edition for like $20, dude, and that has like all the DLC, everything. It's a huge value, and I would think like, shit, dude, if I already had that shit, like I don't even have to spend the $20. If I were just chilling and didn't know what else to do, like I would be playing a fighting game. And there are people that their fighting game was MK11, right? It's not like they're going to go over to Tekken or Guilty Gear, which I could understand that, right? But people that they only played MK11 and they're like, I won't play anymore because there's no more DLC. And I'm like, why? Like, you just want to spend more money? Like, you have the complete edition. You have everything that you could want. You have it all. You just play it. And no, they don't.
It's not, those people aren't the true fans of the game. I mean, that could be arguable, but it's just like, it's like you're saying, if you don't like the game, you can leave it and stuff. But, there are a lot of people that I do believe, and I believe that's what our player base is, the people who like the Mortal Kombat and they want to play Mortal Kombat 11, the latest one, and they're just happy with how things came out and happy that Mortal Kombat 11, came out. Some people really admire this game, and I feel like those are the people that don't, quit the game just because DLC or updates stop.
Well, I mean, I'm not worried about like finding people to play. I mean, clearly we have tons of
Yeah.
people to play, and we can play
Oh
amongst each
yeah,
other
the
forever,
loyalists.
right? I'm not really worried about that. I just question that mentality. It's not so much like will there be people to play. Like, fuck it, dude. I run my own community. Like, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
just as long as I play it, like I'll find people to play. But I don't understand that mindset. It's like it's just weird because that was the opposite of what we felt back in the day. It was like, yo, like we played the old games until, you know, till we got new games. But we didn't stop playing games that we liked just because they weren't supported. Like, it made sense to stop playing the old one when the new one came out. But like, until the new one, like people played Street Fighter 3 for a decade before Street Fighter 4, and then only only really stopped playing Street Fighter 3. I mean, they never really stopped, but like a lot of people let it go to play Street Fighter 4, and that made sense. But it doesn't make sense to sit there and say, yeah, I'm gonna drop MK11 because there's no update. It's just, I don't know. Were you even really a fighting game player to begin with then?
Yeah. Like if I still had my copy of Soul Blade from back in the PS1 days, I'd still be playing that.
Well, I can kind of understand people not wanting to grind out like Combat League and really take like tournaments and shit seriously. I can understand that because like what tournaments are there to take seriously? Just online tournaments. That's why we kind of structured ourselves more as like a fucking. It's more like wrestling, and it's more about talking shit than it is about competing. But like, I can see someone not wanting to be a sweat lord, but to sit there and say like the game, like I won't touch it and it's bad and I won't play, it's like I don't understand that.
Yeah, and there's a question I believe that beckons: are games, quote, dying too soon? Is there a dying game culture that started, after, the last game was the thing, now you play the new game? It doesn't seem to be the case. It seems before the new game, like we haven't got MK12, we don't have Injustice 3 and stuff, but we're not playing we're not stopping playing Mortal Kombat 11 because those games came out. They're not even out. Those people stopped playing for said reasons we're talking about here: the DLC, the lack of, and updates.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about people that weren't into MK11. Like, obviously, if you never liked it, I'm not counting those people in like, why did you quit? It's like, clearly they don't play because they don't like it. Good for them, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about people that were like diehard defenders, right? Diehard defenders of MK11. I love MK11. Like, it's fucking great, and then fucking it's better than MKX, and then now that there's no more DLC or patching, it's like, oh well, like, yeah, I don't love it anymore. Well, what? The game didn't change.
That's betrayal. Yeah, that's just betrayal to their own ideal on that. Like, I wonder if they'll come back later and be like, man, I did truly mean it. I do like this game, but just wish there was more.
Combat Pack 3 was promised and they didn't deliver, so I guess they're kind of upset about that too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you really fucking wanted like Lee May or some shit, or Havik, right? If you really, really wanted Havik, I don't understand some people's like with the obscure characters, like how they get so damn fucking like weirdly loyal and like die hard for these characters. It's like, dude, Havik was in like 2 games like 15 years ago or some shit. Like,
yeah.
I get that he was popular and I'd love to have him back, but like some people are like, they're never having Havik, I'm not playing this game. And it's like, why was that a factor? Like, I could understand Scorpion. I can understand fucking, even like fucking Melina made sense. It's like, well,
I didn't even know who Havik was until he was mentioned. I didn't even know.
It's time for you to go down the lore rabbit hole. Havik's dope, dude. There's a reason why he's so fucking popular. It's because he's dope.
Yeah.
So,
What does he do? Like, who is he?
Oh, well, Havik, he's the Cleric of Chaos. So in Mortal Kombat, there's like, what, 6 realms? There's Earth Realm, Outworld, Netherrealm, Adenia,
Chaos Realm.
Chaos and Order Realm, right? And then I guess the fucking Elder God Realm would be the 7th realm, or the Nexus Realm, but there's 6. And like, the Chaos Realm is a realm where the laws of physics and order just kind of don't apply. So like, everybody in Chaos Realm is basically immortal, but like, because they don't follow the laws of like anything, like they're like immortal and dead at the same time. Like, they're weird. They're very, very strange, but like, they're all about just like being crazy and chaotic. Like I don't know if you're familiar with Warhammer, but like, they're kind of like the Order, or not the Order, the Chaos people in Warhammer or D&D, chaotic, neutral or whatever. And so Havik is like, I wouldn't say the leader of them, but he's like a high-ranking member of like whatever race lives in Chaos Realm. Like, he calls himself the Cleric of Chaos, and in Deception, the game where he debuted, nobody really disputed that he was the Cleric of Chaos, so I think it's safe to assume that he is indeed the Cleric of Chaos.
I mean, there's no one telling him anything to do. You can do anything you want. There's no law.
Basically, like, half of his face was ripped off. Like, he ripped off half of his face just because he thought it would be chaotic to do so. Like, that's kind of the mentality he has. So, like, his moveset plays on, like, their kind of quasi-immortality. Like, he rips off his own limbs and hits you with his own limbs, and he can dislocate, like, his body parts. Like, he pops his knees backwards to crouch down to do a low fireball. Like, really weird shit. He's got, like, imagine, like, you're an action figure and your joints and bones don't have to bend the way they do in real life. Like, you can bend your knees and elbows backwards, and, like, that's your fighting style. He kind of fights, like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Malignant, but, like, that's kind of, like, the monster in Malignant, like, dislocating body parts and shit. Ooh, look at that. Thanks for the sub.
That's disturbing. See, it's questionable whether, or at least that it explains why one of his fatalities is literally eating both of your arms off, just in one fell swoop.
Yeah, the fatalities of that era weren't the best.
They were wacky.
But Havik is cool. I understand why people like him and why people want him back. I don't know if like that's something that I would consider like I would quit playing MK11 over. I wish people would just keep it real. Like, dude, I'm quitting MK11 because I just get wrecked all the time and I don't feel like practicing. That's
I
like
just get
the real
bored.
answer. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
in your case, yeah, but I think the majority of people is like, I quit playing MK11 because like I go online, I get wrecked, and ooh, another fucking sub. Thanks, all money, my man.
Yes, sir.
Woo.
You know what would have been interesting with Havik, and this brought me into a bigger idea about the future of like Mortal Kombat 11. But like if they put Havik in MK11 and they have the crushing blows like they do, right? His jaw, his lower face is like exposed, right? Say you did a down 2 crushing blow on him, how would his jaw look? Like that would,
It would
because
just
you
not
could,
X-ray.
you know what I'm saying? It's just everybody gets punched and they have flesh over their jaw and their jaw just gets broken into a whole bunch of pieces and stuff. With Havik, if you uppercut him and do a crushing blow, his jaw would just straight up fall off, right?
Yeah. But Havik he's crazy. Like maybe his jaw will pop off and he'll grab it and put it back in. Like he's fucking weird like that. You can't
Few
really
pieces.
You can't really
If-
hurt him and you can't really kill him. He's like,
True.
and they're
If-
not really
uh,
clear on whether or not he's immortal. It's just that like no one's figured out a way to actually kill him, or anybody from Chaos Realm, really.
Mistaken,
But
isn't
that's the point of being immortal. You can't die. But like, what if Havik was in the game and they made it to where like crushing blows don't work on him?
Oh,
Like
That'd
if
be messed
that was
up.
his gimmick, he'd have to be like a buff thing, like how Spawn can
Yeah.
activate all of his. Like, okay, when I activate this
Yeah.
buff, I'm immune to crushing blows. That would work. And
I
then
like
you would
it.
just grab a lot.
yeah.
I would grab like 10 times in a row. Go, motherfucker, what are you gonna uppercut? I don't know. I would be down for Havik to come in. I just wouldn't quit the game because Havik isn't in it. Like, the character I wanted the most was Melina. And if they never added Melina, I mean, I played the game a lot before they added Melina. If they never add her, I would just be like, all right, whatever. Like, fuck you for not adding my favorite character, but I'm still gonna fuck
But
with
Melina
it.
was like very disappointing what they did with her.
I'm
She
actually
was
not-
underwhelming.
I actually think she's like one of the most fun characters to play. Like, I think her play style and like what she does is like, it feels like Melina from MKX rebalanced for this game. I think like there's some like
Okay.
balancing issues with her. Like, she's not good. That's not what I'm saying at all. Like, she's kind of ass. But I'm saying, like, as a play style, dude, she's fucking fun, dude. Sitting there poking people with down 3 and then jailing them into forward 1 or going for mix-up grabs and, like, having all these weird-ass, goofy, unseeable mix-ups in her strings that are, like, super unsafe. Like, she's just got a really fun play style to me, and I enjoy playing her. It's just she's fucking bad, man. Like, there's no reason to, like, use half of her variation moves. Like, the baseline moves that she has are like she has no way of dealing with breakaway. Like, you basically just fucking, as soon as you get launched, like, you break away immediately, and you just assume that they'll break away every time they have bar. And then, like,
So-
her variation that doesn't have combos, the mix-up isn't even all that great. So you end up just castrating yourself, losing your ability to maybe extend a combo if they're out of meter in exchange for a mix-up that's not even good. Like,
So I was just thinking, with a lack of player base, now say NRS did something wonky, whether it would happen or not, like in real life. Say NetherRealm did something crazy, like at a Game Awards, kind of like how they did with the announcement. They surprise us. They pop that tweet up on the big screen. They start talking about it like, yeah, well, guess what? We're reversing time. And they just like erase that tweet. They do this whole presentation, and then they add a whole nother story piece to it where Rain and Melina were involved. The next DLC plus adding another 3 characters, do you guys think that would bring back a good portion of the players?
Oh yeah.
No.
I mean, that absolutely would. Wait, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Explain it.
I'm just saying no, because it's just like, at this point, it's already been 2 years, and I feel like people already will be just like moving on into like a different other fighting game.
See, I don't think so, man. I don't. Dude, you're like buzzing. What's going on with your mic?
Oh,
that's
I don't
beating
know.
back hard. It got louder.
Uh-oh. I gotta get out of here.
Uh-oh. He's gone.
Like Zoink Scoob.
I was like, dude, you could just turn it down. I don't know what the hell's happening. I mean, to that, I don't think that that's a detriment. I think the game's age is actually to its advantage as far as like if it were to receive an update. If there was an update like that, absolutely people would come back. They'd at least come back to check out the DLC and then find out it's not for them and then fucking quit again. But like a lot of people would come back and then some people would stay back. And a lot of people would just continue to be quitted. But a lot of people would stay back if they liked it. I just think like its age I don't think is really a factor like that because I don't know, dude, like people still fucking play Overwatch, man. That's always my like argument. And like people still play Diablo 2, and I get it, those are Blizzard games, but like people fucking still play Battlefront like 2, right? The Star Wars game that was on PS2. Like
Oh yeah.
people still play that shit. If EA were to come out and say, yo, we're releasing an expansion pack for Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation, the old ass one, we're going to release a HD remaster plus an expansion that adds the sequel trilogy, and you can have Kylo Ren in that shit, right? Dude, people would buy that shit. And they wouldn't give a fuck that it's an old game. The people that played the old game would fucking love it. That's their dream. And the people that never play the old game will want to see what the hype is about. It's literally like the proof I have that a update for this game would help it is fucking World of Warcraft Classic, right? Everybody thought that was going to fail. People would get bored. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, like I played that." And I never played Warcraft Classic because I played the original vanilla WoW. I was like, "Dude, I played that shit for fucking 2 years. I was in a fucking server first raiding guild. I'm not touching Classic. Fuck that. I got enough of that." But like the people that wanted it back came back. The people that wanted to see what the hype was about came in. And like the Warcraft Classic is still so popular that they made another one for Burning Crusade. And people still play Warcraft Classic. You could jump on that server. There's tons of people playing it all the time, every day.
Yeah, I mean, and I was just thinking, I mean, the initial release would probably bring people back, but now I feel like coming into question playing it after the story, how good will the story be and what characters will they bring in to expand upon that? Because obviously the Melina and Rain storyline plus these 3 characters will probably integrate into an MKX kind of thing because that's the last place we saw them, right?
Yeah.
So like they're going to be fans of MKX that didn't really like the story, but they just like the game. They won't stick around to play the game for that, or it might be a few individuals that like the story that stick around for the game for a while. They're all feeling good about it and stuff. I mainly what I'm saying is if the story is good or bad, do you think that would affect how many people stay with MK11, like playing it after a while before we re-get to that point where people are starting to be like that again, where it's all like, oh, no DLC.
They'd have to
Don't want to play.
really shit the bed on the story. Dude, like
Ooh.
First of all, none of us let's be real now. Nobody thinks that MK has a good story. It has a fun story. Okay, but this is not like Shakespeare. Like this is dumbass ninjas and robots, right? So it has a fun story, but like as far as literary content, like I wouldn't put this up with Dostoevsky. You know what I mean?
No.
So,
MK11 has like the worst story out of all of them.
Oh, what's up, J-Ro? I recognize the lack of bass in your voice to be you. Don't worry.
All right.
In time, sir. In time. Wait, you think the story's ass? Like, I don't think it's high art.
Well, no,
but I don't think it's ass.
It's not that MK story is ass. It's just MK11 story is ass.
Yeah, and I could see that, but like, I mean, it didn't stop you from playing it. That's kind of the point
No,
I'm
no, no.
making, is that like, even if the next update, if the story is ass, like, people would still play the game. Like, some people think this story is ass. J-Ro does. He still plays. He plays more than all of us.
I mean, and these games are based off of those, movies like Big Trouble Little China and what's that one with Van Damme and the guy who
Bloodsport.
plays Shang Tsung, Kerry Tagawa.
Bloodsport.
That's his name.
Yeah,
Harry
there's
Tagawa
blood.
wasn't
Yeah,
in Bloodsport.
not Bloodsport. There's, I mean, like I said, this game is like based off movies like that, like Bloodsport, Big Trouble of China,
Yeah.
and then you have that one movie. Oh, gosh, I'm trying to think about it. It's with Van Damme, it's with Van Damme and Kerry Tagawa. And at the end, Kerry Tagawa, he gets pinned up to a firework board and just gets blown up by fireworks. It was like real cheesy, but like those campy martial arts movies and
Yeah.
stuff.
I do
I
not
feel
know
like
what movie that
it's
is.
heavily inspired by it.
I'm gonna have
I
to.
do not know what movie you're talking about.
I remember that movie, but I forget what it's called.
Yeah,
But I know that
yeah.
Bloodsport was the big one that inspired MK, because like basically that's the inspiration for
Johnny
Cage.
Cage. Yeah.
That's what the game was going to be, but they just couldn't get the rights to do it.
No, they had the rights.
Ruber. Oh, really?
Yeah, they had
Yeah, they
the
did.
rights. They were
So-
hired out to do it, and then the studio changed their mind, like for some reason or another, and they lost the rights to Van Damme and Bloodsport or whatever movie it was. I can't remember if it was Bloodsport or something. They lost the rights, so they were like, "Well, shit, we've already started the game. We've already got these assets." And so the studio was like, I don't know, do whatever you want. And they're like, all right, well, fuck it. And what they wanted to do ended up being Mortal Kombat. And since they had already done so much work making Van Damme work in the game, they just used all those ideas for Johnny Cage.
So they wanted to make like a game on just him.
Well, like, from what I heard, it was supposed to be like Pit Fighter, where there was only like one character that you, because like Pit Fighter wasn't really like a fighting game in the sense that we think of it. Pit Fighter was more like a single player story game with like, a multiplayer element. So like you only had like 2 or 3 characters you could play in Pit Fighter or something like that. And I heard it was supposed to be like that. Like you could play as, Van Damme or like maybe like other character, and you would go through the story of whatever the movie was in like a karate game.
Oh.
That's pretty cool.
But
Yeah,
but after the success of Street Fighter and then them losing the rights to the Van Damme, IP,
movie.
that was when they were like, well, shit, let's continue making a karate game, but let's make it like this Street Fighter game, and we'll just make up our own characters. Fuck it. And that's how Mortal Kombat was made.
Yeah, it almost makes me think though, in Mortal Kombat, 9 to X, like end of 9 into X and stuff, Johnny Cage became the central hero of the beginning of that. I don't know if it was intentional, but it almost makes me think if that game ended up being Bloodsport, the Johnny Cage character, whether it was the pit fighter or, it ended up being similar to what we know now as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 character select screen we know as Mortal Kombat. Johnny Cage's character or Van Damme's character would have been the hero. I don't know if they intentionally did that.
He wasn't supposed to be the hero. So Johnny Cage, it was supposed to be kind of like Chinese Star Wars. So Liu Kang was Luke Skywalker, and Johnny Cage was Han Solo. So Johnny Cage was supposed to be the wacky, trash-talking sidekick, rebel character. Right, he was supposed to be Han Solo. So he was supposed to always have been important, but he was never supposed to be the main character in so much as Han Solo. Like, you can consider Han Solo a main character in Star Wars, but he's not the main character. It's still Luke Skywalker's story.
Yeah, and I'm talking more from the sense if the game ended up being the Bloodsport game. I was talking more like was that more of an unintentional Easter egg later in Mortal Kombat X to make like Johnny the main character, like what the original Bloodsport game would have been, like in more of an Easter egg sense.
I wouldn't put it past NetherRealm.
Because they have a whole bunch of references. I mean, how Raiden comes out of the sky in this game, Kerry Tagawa, some of his interactions between rounds, like they're definitely those movie references.
Oh yeah, like Mortal Kombat has been one like People are sitting
Sub-Zero.
here complaining about Mortal Kombat. Like, they're like, oh, with all these dumbass guest characters. Oh, it's just like somebody's like opened their toy box and pulled out their action figures. And I'm like, dude, do you not realize the original concept for Mortal Kombat was what would happen if we had Bruce Lee, Van Damme, Cynthia Rothrock, fucking Lopan and the Thunder God, and I don't know, fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator, and fucking a ninja, right? Like, that's literally the first game. Is just like, let's take some action movie heroes and throw them in this fucking box, and that's our game, right? We'll have the fucking Thunder God from Big Trouble in Little China. We'll have Bruce Lee, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Cynthia Rothrock. Y'all motherfuckers don't even know who the fuck that is. You should learn your kung fu.
I don't know.
Cynthia
I don't know who that is.
Rothrock. Me and my homeboy believe that Cynthia Rothrock was the inspiration for Sonya. And like NetherRealm is like not really denied it, but like they haven't necessarily confirmed it either. They're just like, oh yeah, all of our characters are inspired by movies in some shape or form. But like,
Was she blonde?
dude, Cynthia. The only difference between Cynthia Rothrock and like Sonya is Cynthia had like curly hair, but she was a blonde white chick in a world of kung fu because most of her movies were Hong Kong movies. She didn't do a whole lot of acting here in America. But she was a world champion, women's world champion of karate, and then or taekwondo, something like that. And she used that to like get movie roles. But like in America, they weren't really pushing like kung fu action women, right? It was like Van Damme or Seagal.
Dudes.
Yeah, it was dudes. So like she went to China and built her whole career in Hong Kong, and she's in some fucking dope ass movies. Like she is fucking sick. You should go and check her out. If you're a fan of kung fu movies, just look up anything from Cynthia Rothrock. She's fucking sick. And a lot of her movies, she worked a lot with Yin Wo Ping, and so she was kind of like for his studio or team or whatever it is. Like Yin Wo Ping was the one that worked a lot with like Jet Li and Jackie Chan and all of them. He was their choreographer, and so she worked with him a lot. So she was like a female Jackie Chan. Like she did a lot of her, it was like kung fu, but she'd be flipping over ladders and doing all kinds of crazy like Jackie Chan stunts from the 80s and 90s. She was the female version of that, but most of her movies are Chinese. She's just like the sole one white woman in a group of fucking Chinese warriors, and definitely check her out. She's dope, and she looks and fights exactly like Sonya did in the original game, like doing head scissors and grabbing them with her legs and flipping all over the place. And she was almost always an ex-soldier or a mercenary or a cop. Like she always played a Sonya-like character in the movies that she was in. So I
That's
think
like her only role now, huh?
Yeah, I think that she was the inspiration. No, I mean it wasn't her only role. She's in a lot of movies. You just got to get your.
Well, like that's like the only type of character she had.
No, she played different characters in all of her movies. You got to step up your kung fu game, son.
Now, the one thing I'm just kind of thinking about, going into inspirations and stuff. There's a two-way road with how I'm thinking about this, and what I'm thinking of is Sub-Zero's and Scorpion's relationship, right? In all this inspiration where everything comes inspired, was Scorpion and Sub-Zero's rivalry based off of a basic Ninja Clan rivalry, or was it based off of some media, since, this game takes a lot of media influences? Is it based off of, because I believe it could be, based off of Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow?
Not really. It might be like, in a broad sense. But have you actually read John Tobias's notes? They're out there. He's released them. His original.
No, I would love to.
Notes. You can Google it. I forget where they're at. I found them on like many websites. They're all over the place. But the inspiration, it's cool because he draws parallels, right, in his notes of like what character is supposed to be. So like Luke Skywalker was Liu Kang, or Liu Kang was Luke Skywalker, and then Johnny Cage was Han Solo.
He wrote that.
Yeah, Raiden was supposed to be Obi-Wan. Katana was supposed to be in MK1. She was supposed to be Princess Leia, the love interest, but she was supposed to get with Liu Kang and them not be brother and sister, right? She was supposed to just get with Liu Kang, right? And then there was supposed to be a character called the Skeptic, because there was a bunch of magic and ninjas and weird shit, and so the Skeptic would be the person that didn't believe in any of that shit and was all about technology and probably worked for the military or government. And initially it was supposed to be a guy named Stryker. He was supposed to be the black guy. It was going to be the black guy named Stryker, And then they ended up canceling that character. The black guy ended up being Jax, of course. And then the skeptic character ended up being Sonya. And Sonya, you drew that conclusion real quickly. And then for Sub-Zero and Scorpion, it was supposed to be the anti-hero. So Sub-Zero was supposed to be the edgelord anti-hero, like, spawn of the game. Like, Liu Kang is like the ultimate good guy, but Sub-Zero was the Wolverine. He was the Punisher. And that his whole story arc was supposed to be a hunter versus the hunted. And that's why he's the anti-hero. He's like the bad guy, but because someone is hunting him down, you kind of root for him as the underdog. And then the person hunting him down was obviously going to be Scorpion. And that was like from the start. But Sub-Zero was always considered to be a primary protagonist, like one of the main characters. He was going to be the edgelord main character. Like, it's weird because everybody on this character select screen was supposed to be a main character on the good guy's side, which is something that the new movie got right. That Kano was considered one of the good guys at the start and then betrayed everybody. And like,
Yeah.
people don't remember that. They think Kano was always evil and always on the side of Outworld. But it's like, no, dude, he didn't join Outworld until MK2 when he was taken prisoner. But he was one of the good guys in the first game. It's just he was supposed to be the one that betrays everybody.
What was he was like in the military? Some shit with Sonya, right?
Well,
No,
he was always Black
No?
Dragon.
Yeah, he was and in the original game, interestingly, he was Chinese American. It wasn't until the 1995
I
movie
remember
did we
that,
get an
yeah.
Australian Kano, and we got the rest of their Arcanos Australian.
Yeah, because he was supposed to be, the Black Dragon was supposed to be the elite of the triad. So they were supposed to be an offshoot of the, like, actual Chinese triad, but, like, they were, like, the top, we're the elite of the triad. And then they kind of just said, nah, it's just a generic criminal gang. They're not even really Chinese anymore. They're fucking invented by Dagon.
But going back to what we were talking about, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and their, everyone being main characters on the screen, it's weird because you wouldn't find out until like Scorpion's ending that Scorpion, because every one of them fought for Earthrealm, but Scorpion's the one that really is in his second form where he's not really, he's fighting in the tournament, but like without the knowledge that we have now, Scorpion was just fighting in it for revenge until he got to
No, that was always the whole
Sub-Zero.
point. He was always
Yeah.
He was always,
He was
like,
always
that.
like that.
Because in the original instructions manual, and I think I mentioned this before, but Scorpion, like the whole Shirai Ryu garb that he wears, that's not actually what the Shirai Ryu wear. So,
Yeah.
like, Scorpion joins MK1 as hiding amongst the Lin Kuei. He signs up as a member of the Lin Kuei to support Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero not knowing who he really is. And that's why Scorpion wears the Lin Kuei outfit. But because he is disgusted with having to wear a Lin Kuei outfit to hide amongst them, he colors it yellow because yellow is the color of cowards.
And that was in the instruction
And that
manual,
was
the
in
original?
the original instructions manual. The Shirai Ryu weren't supposed to wear yellow. We don't know what the Shirai Ryu actually wear. They've just kind of said, all right, they're yellow guys because that's what people know them for. But we don't actually know what the Shirai Ryu like look like or what they dress like, because when Scorpion takes off the mask, it's a skeleton. So you never actually know, like, we just know that he was Hanzo Hazashi and he was in the Shirai Ryu, and now he's Scorpion.
Does his like skin count
does.
as a mask on his head?
Yeah,
Well,
in
he
the
does.
original game, he just takes off the
He
mask
does
and
take
it's a
that off.
skull. Yeah.
In his ending, it does say he becomes a hell wraith. And that's why he has that stuff. So essentially, is it kind of like the same thing, like the Johnny Cage effect? Like he has his powers in Mortal Kombat 1, but later it's all like, yeah, he really wasn't supposed to have those, but he has them. So when we're playing Mortal Kombat 1, we're playing Hanzo Hasashi.
No, he's already dead.
He's already dead.
Because
Okay.
In the original timeline, if you play through mythologies, you do fight him as Sub-Zero when he's alive. And they're wearing the yellow outfit too. I'm like, okay, all right. They're not supposed to wear that, but okay, whatever. Right? But that's the first level in mythology.
So they do go through that.
Yeah, Sub-Zero, you're on that mission and you fight Scorpion and you kill him. And he doesn't have any of his powers. He has the spear, but he doesn't teleport or have any other fire or anything. So then you kill him as a human, and then he shows up later in the game as a boss. And all of that takes place before MK1. So by the time of MK1, he's already like, I mean, that's why his fatality is taking off his face and burning you with fire, because he was dead from the start.
Yeah, I just got a little confused there down the rabbit hole we were going. But so do they go into that in mythologies? Like, does he like get confused? He's all like, "Hey, you signed up among the Lin Kuei. Why are you attacking me?" kind of deal, or was that
No, because
strictly those
mythologies
instructions?
doesn't cover MK1. Like, mythologies ends with Quan Chi hiring Sub-Zero to go kill Shang Tsung, and the best way to find him is at this tournament. And then Quan Chi also goes behind Sub-Zero's back and tells the same thing to Scorpion, like, hey, you should go. I know Sub-Zero's going to be at the tournament, like setting up the betrayal. I know Sub-Zero will be at the tournament. You should go there. And then that's the ending of the game, is Bi-Han heading off to go compete in MK1 to assassinate Shang Tsung, and Scorpion being tipped off by Quan Chi. Quan Chi playing both sides and setting them all up.
But they don't do that whole Mortal Kombat 1 instructions manual backstory where Scorpion, like Hanzo Hasashi, like goes and like he's not is he wearing a yellow garb is what I'm asking.
That's
Does
what
it
I'm
correlate
saying,
with the
that's
instructions?
a plot hole. Is in mythologies he's dressed like Scorpion.
Okay.
And he shouldn't look like that.
Right.
We don't know, but they were like, well, we can't have Scorpion in the game not look like Scorpion that we know. That was like it's kind of been retconned at this point, but I don't know if I would say retcon, because they did Chronica, so like everything is just another timeline, whatever. Yeah, it happened, different timeline. You know, they kind of band-aided that, but Scorpion wouldn't have worn yellow in mythologies. None of
Another
the
good
Shirai Ryu would.
Yeah, and another plot hole I can think of, this is actually an interesting thought to me. Armageddon. Chronica watching over Armageddon. Do you think, knowing what we know now, because I think that's a plot hole. I don't think Chronica would have let Armageddon completely happen and let Shao Kahn win unless it was to her profit. And that's the only way I could explain that Chronica wasn't involved, you know, because even though she was added later, you got to think she was in all those timelines, all those events and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So did she, in that theory, did she let Armageddon happen because that's the best probability to her advantage? Or was could have Shao Kahn with Blaze's power approached Chronica? You know?
I think Armageddon is inconsequential. I think that the whole thing is that, like, the whole showdown with Raiden and Liu Kang, and that her whole thing is Liu Kang killing Raiden. And so the timeline resets every time Liu Kang doesn't kill Raiden, because Raiden's always the problem. You know, that's the whole point of MK11, is getting rid of Raiden, because he always stops whatever it is she's trying to do. He always stops. And so she's trying to have Liu Kang stop him, because Liu Kang is the only mortal strong enough to beat Raiden, because he's strong enough to beat Shao Kahn. And it just Liu Kang failing over and over and over. So I think Armageddon is just one possible outcome of Liu Kang finally fighting Raiden. Because if you play through that original timeline, Armageddon takes place like way after the MK, like I want to say I call it the Tobias era, right? So MK 1, 2, 3, and 4, with mythologies thrown in there as well. So, and I guess special forces as well, would be the Tobias era. So MK Deadly Alliance was supposed to be a long time after that. That's why Sub-Zero looks old. It was to show,
I
like,
loved, dude, that costume in that game when he shows he's old.
Yeah,
Like,
old Sub-Zero
it's like you were saying. It's, dude, and I really liked it in MKX that they pseudo brought that back.
Yeah. Old man Sub's the best, man. Like, but yeah, Deception and all of that was supposed to be a long time. And that's why they killed off, in Deadly Alliance, they killed off almost all the human characters. So that way they could be like, this is a new generation. These are new characters. The old characters are old and they're dead now. Except for, you know, like Frost was supposed to be the next Sub-Zero. Li Mei is supposed to be the next Liu Kang. Fucking Mavado was supposed to be the next Kano, or Kira was supposed to be the next Kano. Like, they were supposed to be all next gen characters. So, like, it's safe to say that maybe Deadly Alliance took place around the time MKX would have taken place in our current timeline.
Safe bet for sure. There are story elements from those games that are good, and I really would have liked to see take place. And there are some hints to that in X and all that. It's just when NetherRealm decided to go to MKX, they were actually concentrating on a lot of legacy, which is what Mortal Kombat is. You want to see the characters from the first three, but there were a lot of story elements like because Cassie Cage, Jackie, Kung Jin, Takeda, they're welcome additions to a lot of people, right? But I feel like a lot of those other characters, if we made those quote the combat kids in some story elements, I think they would have been a hit too. And I'm not saying like take out Cassie Cage or Jackie, but we would have got new interactions, old characters, and we would have had even some not replacements but elements of like say Movado replacing Cabal or Kano or Kira and stuff. Because I mean, as lame as a character like Kira is and stuff,
Hey, you
they
watch
could
your
have even
mouth.
played it off.
Before Scarlet, before we got Scarlet, Kira was the only hot redhead waifu of Mortal Kombat. So you watch your mouth, boy.
Hey, I ain't slandering. When I mean, granted, I was a little kid. I picked Kira because I was all like, my mom would watch me. She'd be all like, "Why are you picking characters like that, giving me shit?" And I'm like, well, she's my girlfriend, you know."
Right. Big fat
Well,
redhead
That's
waifu.
tough, though.
I
Yeah,
like the
but
direction they went though. I like that they did the combat kids with Jackie and all of them. Just cause like,
yeah, no negativity toward them.
well, I
I
just
think
the whole
Jackie was
thing-
boring.
Yeah, she was the most boring until 11. I think she's actually the most interesting character, like story-wise, in 11.
In my opinion, no, not at all.
Dude,
She's
because
still
she fucking
boring.
wipes
Jackie-
herself out from time. She wipes herself out from existence so her dad doesn't have to suffer. Like, dude,
It's so much
everybody
depth.
sacrifices their life in Mortal Kombat. I will die for you. And it's like, shut the fuck up, Liu Kang. Jackie sacrificed existence. Not even so
She's
that
still
her
boring.
dad could live. She sacrificed existence so that he just wouldn't have to hurt so much. I'm like, yo, that's pretty fucking boss. That's
Yeah,
a
it gave
boss
so
ass
much
She's still
bitch.
boring
depth.
in my opinion. She's still boring. Like even after that, she was still fucking boring.
So J-Ro, to respect the kind of path that you're taking with the view,
So what?
the path that you're taking with that view, Jackie, because I can agree Jackie as a playable character can be boring. I don't know if that's how you think it's
No,
boring,
no,
but
I meant
Jackie,
as a character. Like story wise, she is a boring ass character.
and let me offer this side, Jackie has offered story to more characters in her past. You know, it has affected Jax, and this is why the
Yeah, but-
impact of her sacrifice is so big. It gave more depth to, his wife dying and Sonya and Jax's interactions, and then Jax's pain. Sonya
on,
wouldn't
hold on.
have these interactions without
You guys
Jackie.
are arguing two different things. First of all, we need to get it straight, like what you guys are arguing, because J-Ro is saying she is a boring character, but that has nothing to do with her story. Her story is one of sacrificing her existence to save her dad. But that has nothing to do with her character. You could tell that story with Noob Saibot. You could tell that story
No, her
with
story was cool.
anybody.
That story was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So that story was cool, but
she's
her
still a boring
then-
character,
character.
like her personality or her aesthetics, maybe she looks boring. I can respect that. She's pretty boring from that standpoint because she's like basically just female Jax, and that's pretty boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing like cool about her as like her own character is like. There's nothing much to her.
Like at least
I
Cassie
gotcha.
is
So I
millennial as fuck.
misunderstood.
Yeah, at least Cassie is so fucking social media millennial like fucktard. Then like at least she's got that going as far as personality goes. But Jackie doesn't have that. What is Jackie's personality? Is Jax's
She
personality?
just-
but
It's
she's
literally
a girl.
just Jackson.
Yeah, she's just Jax, but she's a girl. Which
I
is
think
lame.
arguably we could have got more if Takeda were in the game. We might have got more Jackie development.
Dude, they should have fucking made her a weeb. Right? She's a black chick.
Even
No,
Yeah.
dude, she's a black chick who's fucking marrying like the ultimate edgelord ninja Japanese dude. Like it doesn't get any more weeb than that. Like, does she call
Real.
him senpai in the
Yeah,
fucking
you're right.
bedroom? You know what I mean? Like, yo, dude, she's getting with the most weebest fucking character. She should be like fucking kawaii desu, right? She should wear like fucking cat ears, like Jackie with cat ears and fucking tapping her fingers together. right? And I think that would subvert expectations. You never see that character archetype as a black chick. So, like, that would be different and unique enough. It's usually like a Japanese chick or a white girl that plays that character trope. But, yeah, we could make it a black girl and make us unique and interesting. And then Jackie won't be so fucking boring. And it would be on brand for Jackie to be a weeb because she's totally getting dicked down by that J-pop superstar cock.
You're right, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and it would be interesting because Jackie, like I feel like Jackie's a pretty dominant person, but just to add that we perspective, she loves this dude. I like that
Yeah, like,
characterization you guys are talking about,
right?
just
Like-
loves the ultimate ninja, like technology, the most anime shit possible.
And she just fucking
just loves
fangirls
him.
out. Like, she's just like, oh my god, Senpai, he's so cool.
Releases all that alpha just to give all this love to this. Oh, just this. Ooh, yeah,
Dude,
I that's so good. I
Dude,
love that.
Takeda does like a fatality, like a cool ass move, and then does a cool pose, wah, like a fucking ninja pose, and then like Jackie's like off in the corner, like fucking with her wrists together, going ah! Just fucking
Says
nose
something-
bleeding out the fucking like huge ass fountain of nosebleed.
But like after he does his pose in a fatality, he does like a catchphrase, but it's like staring right at Jackie.
No,
Just
you gotta
something
say
really
some
like
memey Japanese shit, you know, like
Yo
Hyofo wasatyo.
Jackie.
You know?
Oh my gosh.
That was cheesy. That was fucking cheesy.
Like fucking yeah, dude, it
Hey,
has
but
to
that's
be
what this
cheesy.
is.
No, but they
That's
would
what this
have to.
is.
Dude, MK is cheesy as fuck. Dude, it would have to be cheesy. You couldn't do that fucking shit serious. You couldn't do that with a straight face. Having fucking Jackie Kwai fangirling out for weeb ass Takeda. Nah, you can't do that with a straight face. That shit has to be funny as fuck.
You can't do it.
You can't even say those words without giggling. Like, kawaii cat girl Jackie? Dude, and they should give her fucking gear that's fucking cat paws, right? Her
Yeah.
gear is
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
wrist guards. They should get a gear that's fucking cat paws. Fucking with fucking, and then another, like the skin will be a cat girl outfit. Dude, I know so many people that would fucking buy a fucking cat girl
Fernando.
Jackie. Yeah, cat girl Jackie outfit. Man.
Fernando would do that.
Don't let Jade be the only fucking bad sister in this game, right? Jackie
Is she even like
can be bad too.
Is it?
she
Is it?
considered black?
I was about to say she's portrayed like J-Ro. Is she's portrayed in MK2 and MK3 with very dark skin, and I think it wasn't until MK Deception they started depicting her with lighter
Yeah,
skin because
that Ed Boon's already talked about that. He said that Jade and Tanya were supposed to be based on his sister, and his sister's actual name is Tanya. And Ed Boon's Hispanic, right? So that's why he made her skin
Ed Boon's
darker.
Hispanic?
Yeah. So he made her skin darker to make her look Hispanic, but because they're dark-skinned Hispanics, they made it like I guess too dark, and everybody thought that Tanya and Jade were supposed to be black. But I guess they were supposed to be made to look like his sister. And
that makes sense.
She's just his sister, I guess, is just like a really dark-skinned Hispanic.
They did do an MK9 though. If you select Jade's MK3 outfit and press start and use the player 2 outfit, she's more on the white side, and I think they were trying to reference her Asian appearance in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, that in which we do not speak of.
Right, Chinese Jade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they do that in Annihilation too? Right?
Wait, what in Annihilation?
That's her appearance.
Asian?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Her appearance in Annihilation. I think that's what they were trying to reference.
Maybe. I don't know. Like, I find it kind of weird, like, that, like, people make such a big deal about, like, Jade and Tanya's race. Like, I get with Tanya because they kind of gave her an Egyptian aesthetic. She's always kind of had, like, you know, the Egyptian looking bangs and all that. So, like, I could kind of get, like, dark skin lady named Tanya, looks like an Egyptian. Yeah, man, I thought Tanya was black, too. right? Like
Well,
all the lines were crossing. So I was like, all right, but like I don't really care because they're Edenians.
yeah,
They're not human. So like
there's so many areas, yeah, and that's what I was going to touch up on. That Edenians are Edenians. They didn't come from any part of Earth or America. For all we know, they have heritage from whatever part of Edenia had that skin tone or people.
well, Edenia was based on like Chinese heaven, right? It's supposed to be the realm of the gods. And like
More origin.
so like everything about Edenia was designed to represent a accurate portrayal of China and Asian culture that hadn't
Okay.
really been represented in Western art. So one thing about China is people think about China as like Chinese people in the movies, right? Everybody's either fucking pasty white like Xing Ziyi, or there's like the little bit darker like Jackie Chan looking fucking Chinese, right? But when you look at China as a continent and you look at China as a culture and a country, it's like, yo, dude, Thailand used to be part of the Chinese Empire and India. And like Indians are dark as fuck. So there are some dark ass fucking people with that Indian heritage that are really fucking dark that are Chinese. Like you look at Tibetans, man. There are Tibetans that are so dark you would think that they're black.
What the fuck?
So
Like
it's
it's
I
a
mean,
very
so
diverse area. So when they designed Edenia, they wanted it to reflect ancient China. So it would make sense that there would be some dark-skinned ass people in Edenia.
What is
And so I think that's why Tanya and Jade are dark skinned, is because it's not really so much of like representation, more of like we wanted this to look like what ancient China would look like, and ancient China would have looked pretty diverse, more so than ancient Europe.
what would
so
like what are
pretty
Indonesians like? What are they mixed with? Are they mixed?
This like Asian islander. So they're kind of, here's the deal, man. I always mix up Indonesians with Filipinos, and they get mad at me because like I know a lot of Indonesians, and I find out that they're Indonesian because I think that they're Filipino, and then they're like, I'm not Filipino, and I'm tired of that shit. I'm like, my bad, dude. My bad. You know what? And yes, white people, black people of the world, yes, we mix ourselves up, dog. We all
Yeah.
look the same to each other. Don't feel bad. Don't be like, oh shit, man, they all look the same to me. Yes, we look the same to each other. It's okay, dog. In your defense, no one can tell the difference between someone from Ghana and someone from Nigeria either. All right.
So I'd like to bring up something we were mentioning earlier about Tanya having that Egyptian aesthetic. You can kind of see that in her moves in MKX, because like MKX, she uses dark magic, which like Egyptians are depicted in mythology as using like darker magic, and the yellow and the gold aesthetic really helps that, and it really makes me think like it really adds depth to more origin and stuff, because especially with you're talking about the ancient Chinese Empire, when they're trying to reach out to that and trying to stick to the Asian aesthetic and bring that into Mortal Kombat and stuff, they really
Kinda.
uh
Here's the deal, though. Like Tanya in the original game she appeared in didn't have the Egyptian aesthetic. That came with Deception.
yeah
In the original
yeah
game, didn't she have what was her fucking weapon? She had like I think
she
it was
still
a
had
tonfa, right? It was a tonfa in MK4.
yeah, she still had those. She still had the tonfas.
And they
I
were
think in
made
her
to look
alternate costume.
they were made to look like jungle tonfa. So I always thought Tanya was
Exactly.
inspired by an Amazonian.
Yeah,
Amazonian.
that's pretty.
Like you
That's a
look
pretty.
at like
I didn't even think about that.
you look at like how she like, and when I say Amazonian, I mean like from someone from Brazil. Like someone in the Brazilian jungles, not Amazonian like Greek mythology. But like she had just like her weapon looked like jungle weapons. She was darker skinned, like her move set was all about acrobatics. Like usually, a jungle warrior would be fucking able to be agile in the trees and shit in an Amazon rainforest. So that's what I initially thought Tanya to be. And then when she came out
That's
in
fair.
Deception, I was like, oh man, I had this character pegged wrong. She's not an Amazon warrior. She's a fucking Egyptian princess. Damn, all right. And then it turns out,
And maybe that's what they were going with first.
no,
because
you
I mean,
look at her in fucking MKX, the initial, like, you play the story mode, her initial design looks like an Amazon princess more than an Egyptian princess. It was when they
Yeah.
redesigned her after
I
the
still
backlash.
see her as a like.
The
I
backlash
still
is when
see her
they
as
made her
Egyptian.
look Egyptian again, right? But look at her in the story mode with the old model. That shit looks like something out of Apocalypto to me.
and
More
that's
so
and
than
that's
she looks
more or
like
less
Egyptian.
what I was saying. That's more or less what I was saying. Maybe that's what they're originally going for, especially with that. And that's a good point with the MKX look in the story, because I always thought that. I'm like, why didn't they give her an alternate costume that was a story mode? Because she looked different on the DLC.
Yeah.
And maybe that could have been a callback to what people were playing in Deception. Maybe they were like, okay, let's give them more Deception. But what I wanted to call out too, a little Easter egg, is she has that staff too in MKX. If you switch the costumes, because I don't know if you've played MK4, J-Ro, but how you had to do alternate costumes in that game, you had to press select and X at the same time, and then their character picture would flip into a question mark and then back to regular. And depending on how many
I missed
times
out
you,
on that one.
yeah, depending on how many times you press select and X, if you did it a fourth time until the character, because the announcer would laugh every time you spun it, you did that button combination on a character. But when he did his really loud laugh, like, like, you'd get the special costume. And on Tanya's special costume, their weapons would change as well. So, like, not only the character costume would change, the character's weapon would turn into something else. Like, Scorpion had a sword first. Well, when you did a special costume, he'd get a mace instead. So Tanya,
Maze.
yeah, it was weird, but he had a skull head too, and that's a whole nother story.
It was the
Yeah.
flaming
But
skull. He
Tanya
looked like
is,
Ghost Rider, right?
Yeah, he was
yeah,
like that's what it reminded me of. Yeah.
his skull wasn't flaming in that game, but it was in Deadly Alliance after.
Yeah.
But if you do Tanya's special skin, she whips out the same staff that you see in MKX. So she had both weapons like all this time, which I thought was a very cool touch when MKX came out.
Yeah, I didn't know about the secret hidden Naginata. That's actually kind of cool. Because I know Tanya was
Yeah.
actually supposed to be Katana in that game. So, like,
Really?
you could hack it to where she has the fans and the moveset. Yeah, so
It
there
was
was
'cause
a,
MK
it was a Game
Gold.
Shark. No, there was a Game
Oh.
Shark thing. No, it was before MK Gold. So Katana was supposed to be in the game. When they made MK4, that's why they have weird shit like Jarek and
Yeah.
and Tanya and Fujin, is because when they initially made the game, they made the characters with Kung Lao, Kano, and Katana, and then they realized they're like, holy shit, we don't like have any new characters except like Quan Chi and Shinnok. They wanted to have more new characters, so they changed Kano into Jarek. They changed Kung Lao to be like, or maybe Kung Lao was supposed to be replaced by Fujin from the start, but
I think so.
Fujin has the fucking spin and the dive kick. He has all of Kung Lao's moves in MK4. And then, with Tanya, she was supposed to be Katana, and they had actually been working on Katana, and she was actually like in the game and playable, whereas the other characters weren't so much. So they just took the assets and they made her skin darker and made it yellow, and then changed up her moveset, and then that was Tanya. But like back in the day, you could get Game Shark, right? Or Game Genie, and you can hack the game with this little add-on thing that lets you hack the game and change shit. And you could actually, if you hacked it right, you could change out Tanya with Katana, and it'll have the Katana moveset, and it'll look like Katana. She'll be like the same skin tone. She'll be like Asian with blue
Sounds
outfit.
nerdy.
But like she wasn't complete. From what I gather, she didn't have like fatalities and shit. But she did have all of like the Katana moves. Like she had the fucking square wave, she had up fans, she had the fan toss. She had all of that shit, but it was just not all the way done. Like the announcer didn't have recorded voice lines and stuff. But Katana was supposed to be in the game, and so when they released MK Gold, it was like supposed to be the characters that they had left out or, changed up because they wanted more new characters.
And that's kind of what I was going for earlier. It just seemed like those characters, and yeah, you explained that where they were supposed to be in the game. They wanted new characters and stuff. Just MK Gold just seemed like a it's a hey, that's actually one of those games. It could have been one of those games I was talking about later where they got a DLC in a form of the next game,
Yeah, I mean that was what
the
Gold
equivalent.
was. It just sucked that Gold was Dreamcast exclusive. That was what pissed me off. Was because like,
Yes.
I
Oh.
had a Dreamcast, but it came out at the time when Dreamcast was dying. It was like one of the last few games released for it, and it's like, damn
Yeah.
it, why don't they put this shit on fucking PS2, right? Like, I want to play this shit on the PS2. I don't want to fucking buy it on Dreamcast. Like, they don't even fucking make shit for Dreamcast no more. Like, I had already fucking packed away my Dreamcast. And so, like, I kind of skipped MK Gold, and then it was because they were working on, obviously on Deadly Alliance. So I ended up.
How did
picking
you
that
feel
up.
after you skipped Gold?
It's not like you missed much. Gold didn't really add much. Like, it was just as broken as MK4, right? As far as like gameplay. And as far as lore goes, it didn't add that much to the lore that you didn't find out later anyways in Deadly Alliance. Like, one of the big changes was, or not really changes, but the big reveal of revealing that Cyrax was a black dude. Like, I think that was in MK Gold. And like, yeah, okay, before MK Gold, we didn't know that Cyrax was a black dude, but they show his face in MK Deadly Alliance anyway. So if you skipped MK Gold and only went from MK4 to Deadly Alliance, you'd have found out all that shit that they announced or that they reveal in MK4 anyways.
Yeah, some of those going back to like the costume switches and stuff, they actually carried over to including gold, obviously. So referring to MK4, I'll just refer to MK Gold for all the characters. Um, Cyrax had that, like you're saying, it had that costume in MK Gold. He had like literally the same costume in Deadly Alliance. And so did Scorpion from MK4, his alternate skull head. Like, so I feel like a lot of the designs from MK4 that they wanted ended up in Deadly Alliance.
Yeah, Deadly Alliance, you should look up, if you're interested in that kind of shit, you should look up, John Tobias actually did an interview on YouTube explaining what he would have done with his MK Deadly Alliance. Like, if he had not left Netherrealm or not left Midway.
I heard that.
And so he explains, like, and it's crazy because what's funny is he even admits, he's like, dude, the story I had planned for MK5 is literally MKX. But instead of the main character being Cassie Cage, it would have been Liu Kang's son. But it, like
No
he said,
way.
he said the original storyline was that Liu Kang and all of the MK warriors are missing or dead, and this is like a generation later, and the whole game is about Liu Kang's son finding out that he is Liu Kang's son. And Katana
That's
is
cool.
the new Raiden. Katana is like the she's kind of like the mentor because like he finds out that he's Liu Kang's son because Katana comes and recruits him and is like, "You're my son. Me and Liu Kang, we're fighting this battle with Outworld, and we left you here on Earthrealm to be safe, but now your father is dead, and we need you to rise up and fulfill his destiny." And the whole game was about you being Liu Kang's son and unraveling what happened to Liu Kang while you were being raised on Earthrealm, and you would be recruiting all the other combat kids, so like the kid, Sub-Zero's kid and Jax's kid and all of that. And I was like, that
Would've
sounds
been
fucking
Frost.
dope. And that ended up, he said, but it ended up basically would have been like the story of MKX is that you eventually fight like Shinnok or whatever as Liu Kang's kid and then save the day. So like basically MKX's storyline, it's just with Liu Kang's kid instead of Cassie.
So essentially, he probably left a lot of the story on the cutting room floor, and they definitely use elements of that. Like I could picture MK Deception being elements of what they wanted to, or what John Tobias probably would have done
Well, no, because he
with
said that
Deadly Alliance.
he had only been like just pre-writing those ideas because like he was
Oh,
working-
wow.
he was working on Special Forces and then he didn't know he was going to leave, so he started writing up a script for MK5.
Wait, why
and
did
that
he
was-
leave?
That's like a whole long other story, but basically
Oh.
like he just didn't feel like they were like respecting him as a developer, and so he bailed because he was working on Special Forces for the PS1 when the PS2 was out, and he's like, I want to make
Oh, Lord.
PS2 games, not this shit. And so I guess that's why Special Forces is so bad, is because nobody actually wanted to make it. And while he was working on that, I think he was working on MK5, and that was his ideas, but he hadn't really like made them official or like done anything with them. So when MKX came out, like he says that they didn't take his idea; it's just coincidence. Like he's like, yeah, there was an idea. That was the idea I had, but I didn't really tell anybody. So it's just coincidence that they made MKX like that. Because people were asking him, they were like, what you would have done, and so he's saying like I would have done basically what MKX was, but it's not like they stole that idea. It's just that's the direction I wanted to go. It's a really cool interview, though.
Well, and some of those things, it just seems like maybe the story, like his views, maybe the story was going that direction, and it just eventually would have came to that direction, kind of like one of those deals where they're just all like, it just all came into place, kind of coincidence, and they were all like, yeah, let's do this story. Like the story was eventually getting to this spot, and just Don Tobias probably was ahead of the game, and maybe that whole trilogy of Deadly Alliance, Deception, and Armageddon was just, I mean, if he left and they weren't respecting him as a developer, they obviously went in a different direction, and maybe 9 through 11 were subjectively the actual way to go after 4.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know what went on over there, so I don't know exactly why he left. I just
Yeah.
like piecing through things that I had read is that he felt like unappreciated and wanted to make PS2 games instead of PS1 game. But I mean, like you could definitely tell there's a difference in storytelling from before and then after. I don't know if one is better than the other. People like prefer what Vogel did, and some people prefer what Tobias did. Like I could go either way. Like the fact that they ended up leading to MKX, which is the direction Tobias wanted to go anyways, just tells me like it doesn't matter. Like if he would have left or not, they probably would have. I mean, obviously they would have ended up with MKX no matter what. Like MKX is like Thanos; it's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
You're cheesy. Don't ever do that again.
But we are at 1 hour and 20 into the fucking podcast. Anybody got a final thought?
Well, should have a better story.
I really hope they take some elements. This could be personal with everybody, but I wish they take elements from the 3D era and implement it in the next game. For example, Ermac training Kenshi, or them mentioning something like that.
Oh, you mean
like Ermac being a good guy? Yeah, like I hope Ermac's a good guy in the next game.
Ermac's always been a good guy. He's a good guy in this timeline. He's just
I
mind controlled.
see.
He's the fucking spirit of Jared is the dominant spirit in Ermac. That's been since MK9.
Right.
But it's just he's being
Okay,
mind
if
controlled by
Jared's-
Shang Tsung's power. But as soon as
Oh,
he
see,
gets
I didn't catch
control-
that.
That's why he's with Kotal Khan and MKX, because he wanted to break free of Shao Kahn, and he doesn't support Melina. He supports Kotal Khan, who wants to bring freedom to him. And that's why Ermac is falling apart and turning into a mummy, is because without Shang Tsung's sorcery to keep him together, he's falling apart, and all of the spirits are constantly breaking away and breaking free. And the only reason why the ones that stay behind do is because Jared is in control, and they're the ancient Edenian souls who still want to follow Jared.
That makes sense.
And
It's
that's why
just
he
an
says, "We are
MKX.
many, you are but one."
But
Because Ermac is the Edenian army.
And the only reason I really say that, I guess, is because in MKX, maybe I was missing something, but it just didn't seem like Kotal Khan was a completely good guy.
The only
in
good
MKX
guy in Mortal
was really
Kombat is Liu
displayed.
Kang. Liu
Yeah.
Kang is the only good guy. Everybody else is shades of gray. That's why
Kotal
Liu Kang
Khan,
in Mortal Kombat 1 didn't have the screen go dark when he did his finishing move. Because originally
doesn't
he
he
wasn't
eat
even
people?
supposed to kill people.
I mean, he technically doesn't. He just kind of like kicks him over the head, punches him, and they're just like, oh.
Yeah.
Unless you do it on the pit stage, his fatality actually counts.
Yeah.
I think that's cool in the original. You do his fatality, and it still does the pit fatality.
Yeah. So, like,
But yeah.
that would be cool. Awesome. J-Ro, final thought.
I already said it. I don't have any more thoughts. So.
Nice. Party on. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and we're going to get started with the Beef Set League here shortly. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Oh, wait, shout out to your social medias. Fuck, I forgot.
Follow me on Twitch. Follow my YouTube page. Stop by whenever you guys can.
And that would be
Yeah.
at where?
It would be at Teah TrSH on Twitch. You'll find both my social medias.
There you go. And you, J-Ro?
Just my Twitch.
So charismatic. Much talkative.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
J-Ro's Twitch is Justin122408. If you want to check him out, make sure you follow him on Twitch and see how he trains. He often shows himself training and getting sets in with viewers. It's a good time.
And rage quitting the whole stream. That's him.
Rage quitting his whole stream. And if you're watching
And
this
my
on,
stream.
yeah, if you're listening to us on YouTube, you could join us live on twitch.tv/SoCalHoneyBadger. But with that, I'll catch you guys on the next episode of the Trash Cast.
See you later.
All right, bye. Yeah.
Oh my God. There we go. There we go.